Well, guys, 2024 is coming to a close, and it was an incredible year, I would say, for the world and for the country, but also for us here at the Rubin Report. We traveled, we interviewed, we talked to you. The stuff and ideas that we're constantly getting into were the exact things that became the hotbed of the cultural revolution we're seeing in this country. And I'm so psyched for 2025 and the incredible boom that I think is about to happen. Here's a little recap of everything we did in 2024. This past year was just absolutely insane. Proof is in the pudding. This year, we went to 548 million views.
Baby, we living in the moment. I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know it. So follow me up, 'cause it's about to go.
Megyn, come mid-January 2025, who will be president of the United States?
I'm going to have to say Donald Trump. Trump grows with every controversy. And I think it will be true this year as well. I've never seen the Republican base so angry about something. Even the ones who don't like him are going to try to send a message that that kind of electioneering that the Dems are doing to him is not okay. And Joe Biden over the next year is likely to have a fall or an impossible to ignore senior moment.
Hey guys, I'm Dave Rubin, and today we're going to storm the Capitol.
Dave, you can't say things like that.
Just kidding.
Dave is living in hot cotton.
I would assume that means you're doing all right. You made some money. You're doing okay, yeah.
He's just gone cattywampus on us.
He's gone cattywampus on us. That sounds kind of crazy. Nutty. He went a little nutty.
Okay, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to pick up a buggy.
I feel like I should know that one. I'm going to pick up a buggy. It's probably like a six-pack, maybe?
No. It's a shopping cart.
It's a shopping cart. A little buggy, like a horse and buggy. Okay, got it.
Get all fixed up because heavens to Betsy, we can't have that man look bad.
Well, yeah, heavens to Betsy. Like, it's like swear to God, sort of like, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, why was that so funny?
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Bless his heart.
Joe Biden, bless
Bless his heart.
Chuck Schumer, bless his heart.
America is being occupied, ladies and gentlemen. Another one. Unbelievable. This is in the halls of the House of Representatives. You're here, you're annoying as hell. Is anyone doing work in this building? Here I am in Tel Aviv, Israel, on a beautiful day in a part of the world that isn't so beautiful right now. I'm here for a week to talk to some of the survivors of October 7th, to talk to some politicians, media members, just people on the street, really find out the temperature of what's going on here in Israel. And the reason that I came was not only to show solidarity with Israel and the Israeli people, but also because I think that this country is the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the world. I think what quite literally millions and millions of people all over the world have woken up to over the past few months is that evil is real. Not everyone thinks as we think. Not everyone believes the same things that we believe in. And if we don't reignite that sense of freedom, figure out how to fight for it and do it justly and honestly, then all of our societies will collapse. That is the great challenge for Western societies right now, and that's what we're going to be exploring for the next week. How appreciative are you of what Elon Musk has done with Twitter to allow some of the debunking of this nonsense and overall defend free speech?
I think Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter may be a greater service to humanity than Tesla and SpaceX and other great things he's doing and will be doing combined. Free speech is the cornerstone of Western democracy. We took it for granted, but we saw, especially during COVID, that we cannot take it for granted. Even today, accounts get banned for posting pro-Israel videos on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Of course, that's completely terrible on a different level of its own, on all other social media. The only place that you can actually speak freely is on X, and we should all be thankful to Elon Musk for the amazing job he's doing for preserving the Western values and Western democracies.
If you want to blame someone for what's happening in Gaza, blame Hamas. There are ignorants and there are idiots. And this is exactly the same people that the anti-Israelis and the BDS organizations are targeting, and they're succeeding.
Right. Hamas made no distinction when they were killing people, whether they were Jewish or Arab, or whether they were Filipino or anything else.
Let me tell you even more than that. They did. And in fact, when they understood that you are an Arab, that when they shot even more bullets. Because for them, if you're an Arab here, you're a collaborator. They massacred us. They raped our women, beheaded our babies, burned entire families alive. If you want to blame someone for what's happening in Gaza, blame Hamas for doing that, and after then, run like cowards and hide like rats under the ground. So you're coming to a Western country to have your freedom in this way, and you're using that freedom in order to become a dictatorship. Again, haven't you learned from where you run away, you ignorant idiots?
Hamas doesn't build tunnels under schools. They actually build schools over the tunnels.
If you wanted to have ended this war in 3 days via the air, you could have.
Well, we didn't do what the United States did during World War II, neither in Germany or in Japan. I always ask myself what I call the WWAD question. You know, what would America do? We are not sending our troops that maybe affects 1% of our public to some distant land. These are our sons and our daughters and our brothers and sisters. They're the ones who are fighting the war. This is a strategy for Hamas. It's not a tactic. Will you fight until the job is done, or will you be a kind of fair weather friend? What I'm telling you is we're gonna fight until the job is done, with or without U.S. assistance.
All right, we're up here in northern Israel, right at the Lebanese border. I'll talk about that in just a second. Today's been an extremely emotional day. We started the morning by watching the 47-minute video compilation that Israel has put together of the October 7th events. And for all of you that have seen some of these videos, and everyone has at this point, we've shown some on the show, whatever you've seen, it's worse. Beheadings like by hand with knives, throwing grenades into bomb shelters with children in them, burning people alive. It's just beyond imagination. So we started the day down there. We're up north right now. What's interesting about this, so we're at the Israeli-Lebanese border. Everyone here is saying the real war is the oncoming war, the upcoming war with Hezbollah. Israel doesn't want anything to do with Lebanon. It doesn't want anything to do with them. But they're massing these rockets. They're shooting it in. No other country would tolerate one rocket a day being shot in, or one rocket a month. I'm at Kibbutz Kfar Az in southern Israel. This is one of the communities that was hit the hardest on October 7th. It's unimaginable devastation here. We're just going to walk through one of the little streets. This was a community of 900 or 1,000 people. There were Gazans that came here and worked. Many of them ultimately turned on the Israelis and helped the Hamas terrorists on October 7th. But these houses, these people sort of had nothing. These are one-bedroom houses that basically have a kitchen and a safe room, that's it. Many of them were burned to the ground. You can see bullet holes and just utter devastation everywhere. My main thought as I've been walking through this is, I personally have never been to Auschwitz, but Auschwitz was a place that was made for death and then created a lot of death. This was a place that was made for life. It's not supposed to be this way, but that's where we're at. I don't even know if this is the right question, but what do you want to happen right now? Like, what do you think, is there anything you think could be done differently right now, or?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a politician. I know nothing about strategy and war and negotiation with terror organizations. So I don't know. I can only believe that my authorities and other authorities are doing the best they can. But I feel like every minute that they're not here, it's failure. All of us, we are failing right now.
We are the most conservative generation America has seen since World War II, and it just seems to be trending further in that direction.
I had never heard this until you said it to me a few months ago, that Gen Z actually is breaking more conservative than at least the two previous generations. What do you think that says about the truth in general?
I think it's easy to assume that Gen Z women especially are embracing the lies of feminism. The left, the radical, authoritarian left, really has strategically gained control of every pillar of American culture. Every single woman around this table ended up saying, I feel like modern feminism has lied to me. I'm not happy. I don't feel fulfilled in my life. I think gender is very much the biggest cultural issue of our time, but people are portraying it in different ways.
We should note that Claudine Gay has not been accused of stealing anyone's ideas.
Yes,
in any
that's
of her
what she's
writings.
accused of.
She's been accused of more like copying other people's writings without attribution. So it's been more sloppy attribution than stealing anyone's ideas. But
the stuff
nonetheless,
the way they carry water for these people, you do not hate journalists enough. You really don't. The corporate press, as my friend Michael Malice always says, the corporate press is the enemy of the people. That is the most absurd. She didn't steal, she just stole. Woohoo!
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
What do you think about the dynamics of her and Ben at Daily Wire?
Well, I hope you heard the overriding part, which is that I don't want to make it personal with her. I don't really consider us friends anymore. I think there's many layers to this. There's a pure business layer to it, which is that Candace has a contract with Daily Wire. But it seems fairly obvious to me she wants to leave the Daily Wire. And I think Candace, to her own, whether she wants to join Tucker or do something else after, start the Candace Owens Network, whatever it might be, I think there are realities outside of just like the political fights. And that's why in this case, it actually, for me, it has more to do with that we were friends for a while. I'm trying to honor and respect that. We were quite good friends, and I think she sees an opportunity here and she's going for it.
Why can you at least talk to just sort of where it's at now?
She's free to do whatever she wants to do, to be wherever she wants to be. When it comes to the hosts on the Daily Wire, obviously, everyone is able to say what they want. Nobody ever comes to me and says, you can't say X. Nobody ever says that to Walsh, and no one ever said that to Candace. But the reality is that there is an Overton window at the Daily Wire. Obviously, there was a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say on this. Daily Wire has a very strong editorial position on a wide variety of issues. And by the way, I should say that, there are a lot of people who are suggesting this is about disagreements over Israel. I mean, I can safely say it is not about disagreements over Israel, to the extent that, without reference to Candace at all here, Matt Walsh has taken the position that America ought not be involved in the Middle East at all. That's just a pure isolationist position. I disagree with it. I think it's wrong. I think that it's short-sighted. But again, he's on our platform. That is well within the range of acceptable discourse at the Daily Wire.
Guys, Peaberry coffee isn't your average bean. It's coffee's best-kept secret. Only 5% of coffee beans grow as peaberries, making them denser, more flavorful, and packed with bold energy to kickstart your mornings. This isn't just coffee, it's a richer, more powerful brew. 1775 Peaberry coffee is for those who refuse to compromise. Each bean is hand-picked at high altitudes for that smooth, powerful kick you need to fuel your day. No corporate crap, no woke nonsense, just the best coffee you'll ever taste. And it's not just about the coffee, it's about what it stands for, whether it's Peaberry, dark or medium roast, or the new mushroom blend. 1775 Coffee is about quality, freedom, and living with purpose. Head on over to 1775coffee.com, grab your Peaberry, and join the coffee revolution. Use code Rubin to save 15%. Your mornings deserve better. Brew Rebellion. So if you got the call to be VP, which clearly a lot of the base is into,
I'd be honored to serve, this country in whatever way has maximal impact. So would I be honored to serve this country and to serve in a second Trump administration? Yes, I would. But do I think that now's the time to talk about that? No, I don't. I think now is a time to focus on actually delivering a victory that is far from a foregone conclusion. And I actually think this is going to be a really complicated year. I don't think this is going to be some linear path where it's going to be a front door good faith fight between Trump and Biden, and then somehow we have a cleanly ordained winner. I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns this year.
Both of them feed on the polarization. Both of them are saying the principal reason you should vote for me is if you vote for the other guy, democracy is going to be over. And that there's no way, if that's what you're telling the public, that you're going to be capable of ending the polarization. You know, what I said at the beginning of the campaign is I'm not going to feed into the vitriol or the rancor, the demonization, all this. I'm going to try to identify the common ground, the things that we all share in common, rather than focusing on those little issues that keep us all apart.
I hate the way that as a company, ESPN chose to go. Don't we want everybody to watch our network? Don't you want everybody to buy your products? Why are we you're not going to make money. It's not a good business model. What did Michael Jordan say in the 80s? Republicans buy sneakers too. It's very simple. And I've been saying this. I mean, I feel like there's just way too much money to be made to leave racism alone. So many Americans are choosing to push these narratives and choosing to divide us further. We've been silent for too long and accepted it, and no more. I feel like God put me here to speak out, and I'm emotional for that reason, because I can't believe that it's me, and I'm grateful. Pray that others will not wait as long as I did, including first and foremost my kids. They don't wait till they're in their late 40s, 50 to be like, no, that's not okay, and here's why.
I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it, because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible... The whole Bible is an incredible... I joke... very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But,
I mean, we're voting for him, but come on.
Hey, Mason, do you have any? Wait, why would you? Shh.
What?
I'm getting deported.
What? We're really at the end of the internet. This is it. This is it.
If Trump wants to win this election, he needs to bring in what you represent. So if you get the call, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready because I know what is at stake. And if that call came, I would say yes. And I'd be honored to serve my country in that way and to be in a position first to help win this election, to stop the Democrat elite from destroying our country, and then actually begin the real work of getting our country back on track. And that starts with having people of courage in our government who care more about the country than they do about the political elite in Washington, and actually rooting out the deep rot that exists within our bureaucracies, the administrative state, the deep state in Washington.
I think part of the reason why Miami is succeeding while other cities are failing, right, is because of our birth narrative.
Yeah.
Right? Sort of our trauma, right? Our DNA. It's Venezuelans, it's Ecuadorian, I mean, it's Nicaraguans. You know, it is certainly something that has influenced us, because I've always said socialism is the easiest sell in politics. It's very easy to tell people, if you're not doing well, I have the answer. We'll just take more from these people with government and we'll give it to you. And the problem with that is it's a massive disincentive to produce. It's a massive disincentive for investment, which is what propels growth. And not only that, we've seen that these dictators, because they ultimately become dictatorships, these governments never want to let go of power.
Joe Biden.
Evil.
Warm.
Jill Biden. Striver.
Smart.
Kamala Harris.
Fake.
Charismatic.
Donald Trump.
Family.
Gross.
RFK.
Crazy.
Worms.
Barack Obama.
Communist.
Brilliant.
Michelle Obama.
Mike.
Fierce.
I thought you were going to say dude. I thought it was going to be dude. John Kerry.
Demon.
Optimistic.
Rachel Maddow.
Sad.
Genius.
Dave Rubin.
Hot.
Category is people who
Oh,
annoy
God.
you.
Why
Audience,
are we
keep
doing
quiet,
this?
please. 5 seconds, Mr. Marsh.
All right, I'd like to solve the puzzle. Huh?
That's good. That's good.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
But look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
Man, he is a piece of work. I mean, almost everything that he said up there was either a lie or a complete confusion. He's now admitting 6 feet social distancing was basically made up. We know he's claimed that he had nothing to do with schools closing down. What really this is about at this point is this all just kangaroo stuff? Is this Banana Republic stuff? Or is something going to happen to Anthony Fauci?
Which is it?
Unfortunately, I think it's probably the former. It should be the latter. People had to make all sorts of unbelievably horrific choices, not go to their grandparents' funerals, kids out of school that now have learning delays. We can do the laundry list of things. And it is almost exclusively, not exclusively, but almost exclusively because of that man. And he seems to have no remorse. So when you talk about ultra-processed food, you're basically talking about all of the box stuff.
Anything in the center of the grocery store. If you've seen the videos online, there's a great video of how they make canola oil. It's insane. There's a whole history here, but I think in World War II, they used canola oil to lubricate ships. There's less friction even when it's wet. And then after the war, there was all this extra canola oil and they had to figure out what do we do with this?
There's clearly an epidemic either of dementia or ultimately Alzheimer's. I suspect you think that's largely because of our diet.
I think it's mostly because of our diet. And I'll tell you that neuroinflammation, which is inflammation in the brain, is affected by inflammation in the body, unquestionably. And how do we get inflammation in the body? Well, it starts in the gut, and it starts with the foods that we eat. It's not that complicated. If humans just eat minimally or unprocessed plant and animal foods, we do really well. The more of the processed or ultra-processed foods we eat, the less well we do. End of story.
The verdict in the Trump trial, 34 convictions. Do you think it's possible or even likely that Trump will be jailed?
I now do think it's likely he will be jailed.
Really?
I think it's almost impossible that he won't be. Think about it. So he gets 34. They got him on 34 of 34. Let's put aside whether any of it was legit, which I largely don't think it was. Put all of that aside. And now the judge has till July 11th. And it's just up to the judge. The judge is the one that sets the sentencing. So that one man can basically decide what to do. So he could basically say to Trump, okay, you know what? It was a while ago. You're running for president. It doesn't seem good for the country if we throw you in jail. So we'll just fine you, or you can't do business in New York anymore or something like that. But I don't think he's going that route. And I think he's going to look at it and now think that he's the hero in the story. And how do we end Trump? We end Trump by putting him in jail. The vaccine was not a vaccine. The vaccine did not work. Fauci is on right now.
It works. It worked. It worked. It's why the hospitalizations came down. It's why the healthcare system.
I know everyone says that, but I don't think there's really any evidence of that. They were forcing everybody to do that.
That is going to be something that needs to be reviewed and scrutinized, and I believe ultimately found to have been wrong.
There was no evidence. There was no evidence that when you went to a restaurant, if you were sitting, you could take your mask off, and COVID could only get the waiter who was standing and had to wear the mask.
But here's not.
And masks don't work at all. They
do work. They don't work. They're not perfect. There's a lot of research that's all over the place. Do masks work? Of course they do. Why do they wear them in hospitals?
We're under attack from what I call the tyranny of the fringe.
Do you miss the old days of doing the show and dealing with problems that were a little more granular?
I went on the air publicly multiple times and said that the damage that will happen psychologically will exceed the damage from the virus itself. I think some of our elite universities are doing nothing but creating intellectual rot in our young people right now. You're electing the people that are precipitating these problems, and it starts from the bottom of the ticket up. Young people stopped living their lives and started watching people live their lives. I tell you what, take that banner and walk into Gaza and see how that goes. I would rather have questions I can't answer than answers I can't question.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with look, if we finally beat Medicare
Thank you, President Biden. President.
I mean, like,
that moment made me mad.
Yeah.
I don't care what side of the aisle you fall.
Yeah.
The human element of this, to see a failing man, is actually heartbreaking to me. Number two, shame on Jake Tapper in that moment for saving him. Unfortunately, we need to be able to see all of this, and then you make your judgment based on that. But when you jump in and save him, it's wrong. It was interesting to watch Trump during that moment as well, too, because he looked and he almost seemed like, are you going to be able to answer this?
Well, he was kind of best Trump right there, because he was just sort of letting it be. He didn't have to do anything there, and you're right. If Jake Tapper didn't jump in there and save him, it really all could have ended right there.
Yeah. Listen to Sonny Hostin, Sat 9.
I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And unfortunately, there still is that stigma against the LGBTQ plus community. 70% of the WNBA is black. A third of the players are in the LGBTQ plus community. I think that people have a problem with basketball playing women that are lesbians. Who cares? They are great athletes.
What do you mean? They're queer plus trans?
They're trans?
Actually, they will have trans. They're going to have a washed up 38-year-old NBA player who's 6'8", 250, and he's going to realize I'm averaging 1 point and I actually just got cut from the Knicks, and I'm going to go and I'm going to average a triple-double, 30 points a game, and I'm going to put on a dress and they're going to call me Sally.
And I'm going to make bank.
And then Sonny Hostin will tell, oh my God, it's so great because now it shows that everybody loves the T community. It's absolutely insane.
The debate, we ran a poll. And every single person we polled thinks that you're a retard. We polled African Americans. They all say you're a retard. Hispanic Americans also think that you're retarded. They call you El Retardo. We even polled actual retarded people. Even they say you sound absolutely retarded. You see where this is going, Mr. President?
Well, I just had a bad night.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to intimidate him. Okay? Okay, great.
Watch
I'm just
this.
gonna watch. So anyways, she says, that is the biggest penis I have ever seen. And I said, I know. That's why I brought you to the Penis Museum, where tickets are $1,000.
I don't think I've seen this one.
Well, hello, Dan.
Where's that museum?
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili. The trick is to undercook the onions. Everybody is going to get to know each other in the pot. I'm serious about this stuff. I'm up the night before, pressing garlic and dicing whole tomatoes. I toast my own ancho chilies. It's a recipe passed down from Malone's for generations.
Has he done anything else? He really was great. His voice. I'd like to know more about his life.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
That's the right answer. Charlie is absolutely entitled to his own personal religious belief, and America is governed by a set of laws based on equal rights and individual liberty. And you could see even the kid right there, he said, I'm a gay conservative, and then he also at the same moment was like, oh, I want to just be a person. And that's what we all want to be. And that's so the reverse of what has been culturally pushed on us, right? It basically, that right there shows you completely exposes almost everything that the left is. The left wants that kid, oh, you're gay, you must be a progressive, and you must fit into the stack, and you must never move from that place that we are going to put you. And what Charlie just explained right there is, well, you can, whatever you want to call it, the conservative movement, whatever you want to call it, welcome to this new wide tent thing. You can have your religious beliefs, you can have your sexuality, and if we all agree that America's good and people are going to live differently and we are going to agree to disagree on some things, then we have something really special. And that really is the only thing that can save the country at this point.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
It's like talking
She's
to a
talking
third
to him
grader.
like he's a baby. Yes, right. You have 2 babies right now. That's how you talk to them, is it not? Can we listen to it again? We need to listen to it again.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
Unbelievable. Megyn, I do want to be very clear. I don't talk down to my children. I talk to them like adults. They're only about 1.5, but Justin will look at me sometimes and he'll be like, dude, I'm a kid. What do you, come on. But that is just so embarrassing, and she is so in on it. If you want to be angry at somebody tonight, like, we can be angry at all of the media people, but everyone in America really should be angry at Jill Biden. It's elder abuse what she has done in her quest for power, or whatever deal she has made with Obama or anything else. I mean, my God, you answered every question. First of all, that's not even true. He rambled incoherently.
The misallocation of capital is so astronomical inside of government that it's mind-blowing. And if you just stop and think about it, this is very intuitive. Like, name one domain where government does anything effectively, right? Like, you've been to the DMV, if you've ever dealt with, God forbid, state-run healthcare, banking, insurance, all the things that the state touches become very inefficient because there's broken incentives, right? They don't have an incentive to be accountable to the preferences of their customers because they're backed by a money printer, right? And if you're backed by a money printer, then all you want to do is keep the scam going, right? Just let me keep printing money, and to hell with how you feel about your customer satisfaction, because guess what? I don't have a P&L. If I had a P&L, I would care about what you think.
Right.
The customer's always right in a competitive business, but the customer's always wrong in a money printing business.
Fuck it, fuck the dude, firefighter guy, fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, if one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny.
I wish that there is no room. There is no room for the hand-wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
It's not hand-wringing.
The hand-wringing.
It's not
it
hand-wringing.
Absolutely is. Conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a conservative.
They can have any conspiracy theory.
I'm not a conservative.
They can have any plot. They can do any of these things, and then liberals are supposed to sit here and be like,
Destiny,
oh my God, it's so tragic.
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead.
This is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this.
What is it about Gavin Newsom where I go, this guy's a sociopathic, cheating, lying piece of shit? And my mom goes, I'm voting for him. I'm like, why don't you experience him like I experience him?
I think there's a couple things. First off, you and I are in this game. We've been around the guy and people that have been around him. We survived COVID here. Everything that I talk about politically, he represents the antithesis of. Literally everything. How he deals with homelessness, how he deals with drug use. But I wouldn't say someone is evil if I didn't think they were evil. I think he is evil. What he did to San Francisco, what he then did to this state, and he shows no remorse. If anything, he shows glee over it and thinks that he's right, and he would gladly do it again. And the fact that with that track record, he wants more power. Look, I live it largely in conservative circles. Evangelical, I go to evangelical events. I go to all of these places. I am treated fine, equally. I have no doubt that some people say it, they pray for me, or some people maybe don't approve of something, but no one's coming for my life. No one's trying to take me out. And that is so much more tolerant, actually, than anything I get from the supposed tolerant people.
That hypocrisy is thick, because they're the ones that are...
We're tolerant. Now you better do what we want you to do.
Or else I will make sure that your life is ruined and I'm going to cancel you.
The Democratic Party have been taken over by the left is ruining America.
Yes.
So clearly, we don't want a Democrat to win the next election. Don't we have a better chance of winning if he stays the nominee?
Yes, of course. So there's a strange Faustian bargain, I suppose, in all of this. There's a weird moment right now where it's like, okay, those of us that don't want a Democrat in office, well, we kind of should want Biden to run, but I would say I'm an American. I don't even consider myself a Republican. I'm a Florida Republican, I suppose. But I'm an American first, and I want a president who's competent. This man cannot wake up at 3 a.m. and make a decision. I don't
don't know that he can make a decision at 11 a.m.
Is Kamala Harris, in your view, a stronger nominee?
It's a little hard to say because, look, as you know, she was polling at 0 to 1% in her own party when she dropped out when she was running as a presidential candidate against Joe Biden. She does not have a huge amount of support either, and it's very clear that the party apparatus does not want her, but there isn't a mechanism really to get rid of her. So if they're able to either force Joe Biden out, which Jill Biden clearly is against, and Joe himself or whatever's left there doesn't seem to be for, well, then you have to figure out a way to push her aside. Now, I will say this, for all of my frustrations with Democrats in general, I will give the devil his due here. The Democrats will do whatever they need to do. If they feel that she cannot win and Joe's out, they will find a way to get rid of the first black female potential president. And they will put up my good friend Gavin Newsom, or they will put up Gretchen Whitmer, or it does not even matter. They will do whatever they have to do.
I'm predicting right now there is no chance Biden is the nominee.
No.
Nobody ever listens to me, and I'm always right.
This is a disaster.
Well, we are definitely voting different ways. Let's be clear about Biden. Is he completely out of his mind? No. He's not lost his marbles. I wouldn't ask him something at 11:30 at night. No. But if you had to, is he completely crazy? No.
I don't have any sense that he has the wherewithal, if they woke him up at 7:30, 11:30, or 3:30, that he would know where he is or what he's doing.
Then you're just a hater. He's not. He's terrible in public. He's terrible when you put him under pressure with his stuttering and with his age, yes, to try to do a debate. It'd be like asking him to run a marathon at 81. No, you can't do that. But can he sit in a chair and still think clearly and talk? Yes.
The way that it's being presented right now is the Democrats, in essence, whether they're fully saying this, I'm just talking about their behavior. Their behavior is the border is basically open. Come in. We're going to teach you all of the wrong things at public school. You're going to be taught, again, that America was founded on slavery, that we're a systemically racist country, that we're all of these terrible things. So now you're going to hate, we're going to teach you to hate the place that you're coming to. And we're not going to teach you about that American dream or American exceptionalism or what the founders were fighting or anything else. And we're going to also give you services. We're going to put you on the dole of other people, thus increasing the resentment of other people towards you. That is completely unsustainable.
Anthony, let's try it this way. I'll take over the host reins for a sec. Piers, if you want to get a coffee.
Well, be my guest.
Yeah. Who is more competent, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Well, Joe Biden easily. We look. He's done better. Your guy's the only president since Hoover that's lost jobs. Look, the American people have already ruled on this. They've already ruled on this. They chose Joe Biden easily. Your guy lost net jobs. The economy
that was
is
4
that's
years
not the
ago.
issue.
Joe
If
Biden
that is
can't
crap,
complete a full sentence.
If it's Biden Trump in November,
Who am I voting for?
Who wins?
I do believe Biden wins.
Trump.
I think that Joe Biden's problem is the clear senility that's going with his age.
Do any of us sitting at this table or anyone watching this think that he could run one shift at McDonald's? And I don't mean that as a shot for someone that works at McDonald's. I think a lot of senior citizens could, because I don't think it's an age thing. I agree with you.
Jill Biden is right to say it's about vim and vigor, but her husband doesn't exude it.
Well, look, let's put it this way. You opened by saying something about ailing Joe Biden, and I thought, I haven't looked at my phone in 20 minutes. Did something else happen?
Yeah, it was an intense experience. You know, I just did the work. Watched a lot of retarded people. Spent time with them, observed them. Watched all the retarded stuff they did.
I think the data is overwhelming that we are raising a generation of lonely, broke, and isolated men, and the most deepest resource companies in the world are all trying to convince these young men that they can have a reasonable facsimile of life on a screen with an algorithm. You don't need friends. You have Discord and Reddit. You don't need to go through the bullshit and the rejection of trying to find a partner and going out and looking good. You have and I think we're literally raising a group of almost like a new species of males that don't engage and don't socialize. And I think they become more prone to conspiracy theory. They become more likely to be misogynist. They become more homophobic. And into that void have slipped some really unproductive voices that either want to tell them to be mean and coarse and take charge of their lives and treat women like property, or on the left, they lecture, be more like a woman. That's not the answer either.
The problem with giving a voice to the voiceless, they never shut the up. They don't. They never know when it's time to shut the
When did you realize that they never stop, that there's never too far there? Because for me, when the gays got marriage, it was supposed to wrap up. We got equality, we're good. But then overnight, it flipped into let's chop genitals off kids.
I had a lot of friends who were university professors. They were the F word feminists who taught women's history in basically Jesuit universities. That was the first shock. They had to deny them tenure and kick them off the universities because they refused to include trans theory. And when I saw who's doing what and how they're positioning groups of people against their own better interests, they're dividing everybody to have two groups, an internal enemy and the regular dumbass people that are too busy to not listen to CNN.
I don't know a tremendous amount about this, but I don't think they're supposed to inject the Botox directly in your brain.
What is that? I'm so, no, genuinely, these are like elected officials, people who actually are working in government. This would be a weird video to my friends who are stars. If I showed them that, they would be like, this is genuinely inappropriate. So like creepy and fetishy and like sexual and like, that is just a crazy video.
We all know that most of Congress is basically just like a giant brothel, right? So I think that's what this video is. Like they really just can't escape the fact that they're all absolute hoes for power. They're so removed from what is normal at this point, and the Overton window has shifted so far over. The next one they're going to do is be like furries shitting in a litter box, right? And like this is just so abnormal.
When you talked about living here in California and we had the lockdown, I don't think there'd ever be another lockdown. I think that everybody would admit the lockdown was probably wrong.
Oh, I think they could bring it back so easily, it would be ridiculous.
I think that they see mistakes, and I don't think those mistakes were made for any ulterior motive other than trying to save our ass without knowing anything.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So we could say, okay, maybe they had good intentions when they locked us down, or when literally the LA County Commissioner, that Sheila Cool woman, when she voted to close outdoor eating, but then from the meeting, she went to go eat at her favorite outdoor Italian place in Santa Monica, because she knew it wouldn't kick in till midnight.
I think that she intended on doing, on creating a healthy bill but she wanted to grab one more meal, which is so stupid.
No,
I'll give you that.
It's evil. It's not stupid.
F you, Taylor Swift. That's how I feel. I'm so angry about this. If she just came out and said, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because I think she's the better leader, whatever. To specifically cite Tim Walz and his stance on the trans issue is disgusting. She is no heroine to young girls. She's a danger to them. If she's going to take the power she has, thanks to her singing and her songs about her shitty love life and inability to actually meet somebody who will treat her right, and turn it into a manipulation of young girls on the, in her own words, LGBTQ front, then shame on her.
How are you feeling at this moment about the election?
I feel better than I did in 2020, for sure. I think Trump's in a much better spot. I feel better than even where we were in 2016. With that being said, given the environment, I would think we should be feeling even better, because this election really should not be competitive or close, given the economy, given the southern border, given the kind of the status of how things are in the country. Kamala Harris's campaign team is brilliant. She's receiving coaching very, very well. If Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, he's president of the United States. If you're telling me that Trump has to win 3 states, all 3 of which he's won in previous elections, one of which he won in 2020, and then the other he fell 10,000 votes short of, that's a great starting point. It's a great map for Trump. What should happen is that it should break in Trump's favor somewhere around mid-October. However, we can't underestimate Kamala Harris and their team's ability to chase ballots, register voters, engage in early voting. And so I remain saying this is a 50-50 election. I think Trump has a 50% chance of winning.
They're asking him to tone down the rhetoric?
It actually was just a category error, where if a guy has been the victim of politically motivated violence by an assailant who allegedly has been exactly saying the exact kinds of things that Kamala Harris says about Donald Trump as a threat to democracy, the thing that might at least make sense to say is, hey, should we look ourselves in the mirror and say we need to tone down our rhetoric here? This man was shot several months ago, actually shot, and then this time around had shots fired at him yet again. And the question is, should he be the one turning down the rhetoric? It's the equivalent of, I mean, it's a classic example of the thing that the left says they don't like to do, which is blame the victim. That's the kind of logic that they're applying, which is insane.
I read the indictment. I'm so used to reading dishonest things about me that when I was reading it, I was like, oh, this actually is all true. I knew Lauren for all these years. She told me I was working with this French businessman. I'm commentator number 1 in the indictment for people that want to read it. I'm the one that asked for more information. They sent me what I think now it says is a fake AI bio about this guy with a picture. And I said, well, I'd like to talk to the guy. That's what I said to Lauren. All my communications were with Lauren, and clearly the DOJ has all those communications because everything in the indictment was true. I got on a Zoom call. Lauren set me up on a Zoom call with a person that I was told was her French benefactor named Edward Gregorian, and now I don't know who I spoke to. I actually have no idea who I spoke to. I don't know what Lauren's intentions were or anything else. Look, we, as the DOJ said to me in an email, look, you guys are the victims here. You guys got completely duped. I completely stand by all of my editorial decisions. So this guy, UFC legend, Colby Covington, he saw the video of LeBron James sitting for the national anthem, and he ain't having it.
If you hate America so much and you don't like this country that gave you $1 billion, leave it or come deal with me. You go to China, go to these sweatshops that you employ all these laborers and use these women and pay them pennies on the dollar to make your millions. F you, LeBron James. You're a coward. You're a spineless coward, and you're a bitch.
I want to get that guy on the show. Like, I don't really care about UFC or anything, but anyone that dresses like that, the indoor sunglasses, you're a
Project 2025 is being accused of all this nonsense that the libs are making up. It's a brilliant endeavor, spearheaded by the Kevin Roberts and the Heritage Foundation, but bringing together a ton of other conservatives. And President Trump has, I won't even say distanced himself from it. He's just observed. He said, look, I don't directly do very much with this, so stop trying to pin this on me. But Project 2025 is a great thing, and the movement behind it is I think totally obvious, which is personnel is policy. So if you can write up all the greatest white papers and even laws in the world. If you don't have people who are actually going to enforce those laws and regulations, then they and $1.50 can't even get you a cup of coffee anymore because of inflation under Joe Biden. But it'll be completely worthless. So that's the question. Can Trump get enough of his guys in there, now that we have a little bit more control over the administrative state, to wield this authority? I'm hopeful that we can.
He will sign a national abortion ban.
It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor.
What she says is an absolute lie.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Let's remember Charlottesville. There were fine people on each side.
Very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. Let us finally pass an assault weapons ban and universal background checks and red flag laws.
Misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't think anyone in this room or you at home heard a word of that, because everyone, what the high hell is that woman wearing? What is that? Those shoulder pads, she would make Dorothy, Blanche, Sophia, and Rose proud with those shoulder pads. That's number one. Number two, the suit. Whose suit is that? Is that one of Eric Adams' suits? I don't know what I'm doing. So if I put on a big suit and kind of look like the Joker or Beetlejuice, remember the end of Beetlejuice when he's sitting there, he's in purgatory, and then right at the end, the guy drops some dust on his head and his head shrinks? What is going on?
Black. You're black. Jesus, just stop, Ron. I'm terribly sorry. I don't know why I can't stop saying black. The word black. Black.
Stop.
Black.
Stop saying black.
black. If I don't say it, I'll pass out.
77-year-old Chris Wallace will quit CNN and walk away from a 7-figure salary rather than renegotiate his contract. His plan is to go into independent streaming or podcasting, pointing to Joe Rogan and Charlemagne the God, that's Lenny, as inspiration. He's 77 years old and he's going to go independent. Because all the kids are going to be like playing PS5, they're playing Call of Duty or Fortnite, and they're eating their Takis and they're drinking their Prime, and they're going to be like, yo, bro, you want to watch Chris Wallace, man? He's gone independent. I'll pay for him. I'd like to see Chris Wallace. Yeah, he's cool. Look at him. More Takis, man. More Prime. Riz.
If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to God, I will stop being so polite. Get the out of my sight before I demolish you.
Beautiful trans women out here. Tell us about your transition, how it went.
Why are you asking me those questions?
We're interviewing like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm not a trans woman.
Oh no, we're fully supportive. Fully supportive. Do you want to talk about sort of transitioning or anything like that, or like what people can?
I never transitioned because I was born a woman.
No, of course you're a woman. Of course.
What is your opinion on trans women?
I support them and I love them. That's why we're interviewing them. We're showcasing them.
Well, you haven't interviewed one yet because I'm not a trans woman.
Is there another definition that people like to use, or I don't mean to be?
I was born a woman. I was born with female genitals.
Okay.
So you thought I was a man when I was born? You thought I was born with male genitals?
I thought you were. No, I think
what did you think?
Trans women are real women.
They are.
It just blows up right there. You thought I was a man. Oh, so you do think that there's a difference. But then when someone thinks that you were a trans woman, aka man, then it suddenly gets offensive.
A decade ago, Joe Rogan was a Bernie Sanders supporter who had a host of left-wing opinions, including about healthcare, and liberals drove him away by calling him a racist, unearthing jokes he made, calling him a misogynist, really with no evidence.
When you make racist
calling him
jokes
a transphobe,
about people of color,
calling him a
people
lot of
calling you
comedians
racist is likely going to happen.
all the time. He actually hasn't shapeshifted very much, to your point. The Democratic Party has shapeshifted and driven him away and alienated his followers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I know that that's right for many of you watching this right now. It's not that your opinions have so wildly shifted. The left went completely bananas and they purged out all of the sane people.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together.
I think Donald Trump actually believes what he just said right there. And if you believe in divine intervention, if you believe in the man upstairs, that we are all part of something that is bigger than ourselves, then I think something major was just delivered to us. And I think Donald Trump realizes it. That is why the Elon, RFK, Tulsi, Dana White, Joe Rogan, it wasn't just, oh, we all agree on politics, let's go do a political movement. This thing is not a political movement. This thing is something way, way bigger. Does it shock you that all of the institutions, I mean, you just mentioned a couple of verticals that all seem to have been corrupted. Does that seem obvious or disconnected?
We're 4% of the population in the United States, the world population. We produce 70% of pharmaceutical profits, and we're 60th in life expectancy among all countries. So many institutions in this country make money and are driven by an incentive that's the opposite of what they state. I mean, I think we have a healthcare industrial complex. The healthcare industry is the largest and fastest growing industry in the United States. Much bigger than the military, much bigger than tech, much bigger than any other industry. And it's producing worse health, more infertility, more people being overweight, more depression for each marginal dollar we spend. You go to education, we're producing dumber kids for each dollar we spend. So nobody's asking why we're getting so sick. Nobody's asking why we're 4% of world population, but we're 16% of COVID deaths because our immune system is so destroyed in the United States.
Trump has to win this election for it. There's almost no other, I don't see any other alternative. They are telling us, we will censor the hell out of you. We will take your guns. We want 8-month abortions. Like, there's nothing even remotely moderate on that side anymore. And on the right, look what's happened. Donald Trump was the first president ever to come in first time around being for gay marriage. Barack Obama did not. Donald Trump, yes, he reversed Roe v. Wade via the justices that he appointed, but he's not for a national abortion ban. And I would argue kicking it back to the states is way more moderate than 8-month abortions that they want in California and in Minnesota, et cetera.
The left, for me, is no longer the left. It's like, just here's the left, bigger problems. And the right seems to actually more moderate, more welcoming to gays, more welcoming to people with differences of opinion on their side, more willing to have these conversations.
It was everything that you need to know about Donald Trump in one weird white nationalist type rally. Yeah. This is the descent into fascism.
I don't want to say what I really am thinking about her. You know what I mean? I don't want to get demonetized. You guys probably want lunch today, so I'm just going to write down something here. I do want to continue for a second because the thing is that these people are not good people. And it's not just Mika who goes on there and says these completely crazy things. There were black people there and there were Latinos there and everybody else. And it's vile and it's disgusting and she's a horrible human being. And you, lady, have normalized evil and lying. One word to describe Kamala Harris.
It's a challenge.
Joy. Vapid.
Disaster.
Inexperienced.
Unfit to be president of the country.
Integrity. Integrity.
And he's funny.
Integrity.
In 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the Garden for a so-called pro-America rally. Donald Trump is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Honestly, that guy, whoever the that is, you and the horse that you rode in on, you worthless piece of shit on your evil propaganda network. You know why they didn't zoom in? You know why they didn't zoom in on the footage they were showing you there on MSNBC? Because they would have seen Jews wearing yarmulkes and they would have seen black people and the people with Hispanics for Trump. You people are the worst, most disgusting, awful liars on the planet. Moderate lefty your entire life, not particularly political. You've now seen the light. The election is in a couple days from now.
Wow.
Will you be voting for Donald Trump?
I did vote for Donald Trump, yeah. He wasn't my choice out of the candidates that were running for the primary. I do understand his flaws, but the problem for me is that it becomes a question of lesser evils. The things you and I talked about, like the First Amendment. I'm looking at wars going on all over the world. I'm looking at big food, big pharma, and big insurance running rampant. Someone was telling me, like, I don't care about that. You know, I just need to pay my rent, and all this stuff you're thinking about is up here. It's not up here when you get diagnosed with breast cancer. It's not up here when a nuclear bomb goes off on the East Coast. It's not going to be up here when all of a sudden there's something you don't want to do with your body. And then they shut down your social media, and then they fire you from your job. Like, it will come for you.
I'm not saying it wasn't courageous and wise of Trump to go on Rogan. Because
basically no other politician would ever do a 3-hour unedited sitcom like that.
And there's still certainly this delusion that I think the legacy media and perhaps even the Democrats are starting to realize that Rogan is a fringe figure and certainly like some kind of gateway to the right is ignorant and preposterous.
Well, that's what they used to say about me. Because I left the left, but wait a minute, this guy's gay, he's still liberal. We could do the whole laundry list of things, but that I was just willing to talk to people. So then suddenly I'm talking to you, and then I was like, I'll talk to Shapiro. I'll talk to Glenn Beck. That's a scary guy. He's a crazy right-winger. That's what people used to say to me all the time. You're the gateway drug. The funny thing about Rogan is if you see what the media is doing with him now, is the mainstream media is going, why is it that we don't have our own Rogan? Well, you idiots, you had him.
Yeah, no.
You had him.
Well,
you refused to talk about it, and you tried to get him kicked off. You tried to get him kicked off Spotify.
Okay, Dave. So what do you think of Mark Cuban? He obviously supported Harris, and he was out there very vocally supporting her. It didn't work. So why does he think he's so great at politics?
I asked actually the producers in advance of the segment to pull up an image. Can we pull up an image that I requested? Because I have a theory that the more Mark Cuban goes into the leftist idea, jumps into the liberal pool, the more he starts looking like an MSNBC lesbian. Cuban needs to go away, like all of these people need to go away. If you're an old school liberal, you have a home. It's called the Republican Party. It's what Trump has done. It's RFK. It's Tulsi. It's guys like me. Everybody that loves America, you're welcome to be a Republican right now. And let the Democrats... That's
the truth. That's why they're applauding. And let the Democrats have the crazies and the thick rim glasses, people.
Barack Obama, has he lost his touch?
Oh, he's absolutely lost the touch. You can see it. I mean, you can see the anger in the face. The inflection's not the same. The way he's sort of berating the crowd. It was hope and change. I mean, does this strike you as hope and change anymore? Well, you saw that video a couple days ago after his speech. He goes there. He has a couple black dudes around him and basically like, you guys don't know what's good for you. You know what? Call me crazy, but I believe that black people want what white people want, and it's what Asian people want, and gays and straights and men and women. It's freedom, and it's capitalism, and it's America, and all that good stuff.
I would say to the average liberal who is out there, the old school liberal that I think Sam believes he still is, what you are about to do is now vote for Kamala Harris, the most illiberal person on the planet. You are going to vote for someone that is for censorship. You are going to vote for the person who wanted vax mandates. I thought individual autonomy and bodily autonomy was a liberal principle. You are going to vote for the people who are going to, who have opened up our borders and let millions and millions of people into this country. You are going to vote for someone who is at the epicenter of all of the woke stuff you purport to be against. So you're voting for someone who is for chopping off kids' genitals. You are voting for someone who fundamentally now leads a party that is anti-American, doesn't think this place is good, that is for identity politics. You are voting for someone that has destroyed the city that you live in, Los Angeles. And you're doing all that in the name of liberalism because you don't like Donald Trump, who is actually the most liberal Republican candidate we have ever had. And I mean this gently and friendly, with friendship and openness. Say to Barry Weiss and whoever else is out there that considers themselves an old school liberal, that sees the evils of the left, that now understands how radically insane the Democrat Party has become. This is your challenge now. This is up to you guys. There's only a certain set of people who can move electorally. The disaffected lib is the only group, is the main group that can move. And many of them are. I would say to Barry Weiss and whoever else there is, this is your chance. You're a liberal, you think gay rights are great, and you think feminism is great, and you think that children shouldn't be abused, well, you got one chance now, and I would hope that you will take it.
He should go to jail. Right?
Yeah,
what did you make about him basically saying he had an open mind? He did not have an open mind about the lab leak.
No, Fauci has lied about everything from the beginning. He admitted that 6 feet social distancing was just kind of made up. He told friends 2 months into COVID that masks don't work. He claims he had nothing to do with school closures. We could go on and on. There's another part of that testimony where he says that he blames 200,000 to 300,000 COVID deaths on podcasters for spreading misinformation about vaccines. I would like to say, as an unvaccinated podcaster, I want to use my words carefully here, Anthony Fauci can go himself. How is that? That's good for Fox, right?
That's good. That's good.
Can you just talk about how to secure elections properly? Because I think an awful lot of people across the country right now are just worried that this system doesn't work. Here in Florida, we know it works and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it didn't always work that way in Florida. Kind of what we do is 1, photo ID, 2, paper ballots, 3, transparency in the votes that are being cast. Now, you can't vote in Florida if you're an illegal alien. We have that, or a foreigner, not just illegal alien. If you're a legal foreigner, you can't vote either. That's in our state constitution. I instituted this when I became governor. We created an election crimes unit in state government. Foreigners vote, you're going to be prosecuted. If you vote in 2 different jurisdictions, New York and Florida, let's say, we're going to hold you accountable for that. And then also people that have committed serious criminal offenses. I think you got to have a good framework, and some of these states have horrific framework, but you got to enforce what you have. For example, we banned ballot harvesting. Don't even try to ballot harvest. You know you'll be held accountable so you don't see it.
It's the Rubin Report 2024 Election Night Spectacular, featuring special guests.
And I'm just going to keep coming. I don't give a what you say.
Mexicans make burritos because they have an agenda.
With all sorts of surprises.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Get out of my sandwich. Classic example. There's a chicken, and the farmer goes out every day and f***s the chicken.
The First Amendment and boobs.
Beat it up, N-word. Catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard.
I'm gonna bomb the out of them.
What can I say? Shanga,
Take a good look at these.
What's Joe Rogan's dream?
What's Joe Rogan's dream? I think that was Joe Rogan.
I totally did.
F you, Taylor Swift.
Ask the Ukrainians to help them cheat an election.
It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. Somebody's gotta have the same views.
Tulsi, say hi to Dave Rubin. We're on now. I know.
Tulsi, you're on the internet. We're gonna win. We're
on
gonna
there.
win.
I know,
Hallelujah. All right, now you can feel it all kind of falling
if Tulsi's
into
walking
place.
in, then you know, like, this is a good thing, and we're on, for sure.
I think that it's been a long journey, a long road, a lot of stress, a lot of ups and downs, but, you know, pretty great. I am liking that Chiron right there, the Jewish Dave Rubin. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I didn't even see that.
Well
That's
done.
hilarious.
Well done, Rubin Report.
They've been all over these Chirons today. That was pretty good. They're very satisfied.
That is very solid. That
The
is very
Jewish
solid.
Dave
And I will
Rubin.
say that Donald
It's
Trump
funny
did
at multiple levels. What do you think the system does over the course of the next few months? Because we still have, 3+ months of a quote unquote Biden presidency. I mean, did they 25th Amendment him and she just decides to jump in so she could be president for 2 months? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. You see what they're putting under my name? Oh, you people are hilarious.
Your people are having too much fun with your Chirons tonight, Dave. That's everybody's in a good mood. So. Okay, all right. So what are they going to do?
For everyone that's just feeling this unbelievable tension right now, what would be the sort of most comforting thing you could say to someone if they don't get the outcome they want tonight?
Well, I would say you're morally required not to lose hope and despair. It's a sign of courage to maintain faith in the future. And it's a sign of faith to assume that if you are committed to doing the right thing and following the pathway of truth, that things will work out for you as well as they can. And I don't think you should underestimate the power of that. I mean, if Trump isn't elected tonight, you still have a thriving business enterprise and a family. You have people around you that love you. You can focus your attention on that and continue to work on the political front. And there's no reason to despair. And 4 years into the future isn't that long a period of time as well. So you're required morally to maintain faith in the future.
Oz is a very queer place and has always been.
Yeah.
Even from the L. Frank Baum books, it's always been queer.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Gay.
Look, I don't have a problem with gay people. My husband's gay. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. But this obsessive need to push all of this on everybody all the time, right? It's like pushing race on people all the time. The way you get over things, the way you normalize things, is you just go live your life. It's so pandering. So if you walked into a room and there were straight people and gay people there, first off, generally you wouldn't even be able to know that they were straight or gay, and that you'd be like, oh my God, there are the queers. I want to be with them. Like, what's wrong with the straight people? My parents are straight. I have no problem with them.
Trump today posted a picture of Hispanic men with face tattoos and said, these are going to be your apartment managers if Kamala Harris is elected. That's a racist appeal. This sounds like Nazi rhetoric. This sounds like fascist rhetoric. It sounds like white supremacist rhetoric.
He says that Trump is racist against the face tattoo community, which maybe he is. We might not perform. Generally, Republicans don't perform that well among the face tattoo community. I'm not actually we probably pull some votes, but that's true. If you object to MS-13 sacrificing virgin girls to demons,
right,
in America, you don't like Hispanics or something.
Basically, he's doing a rally and he's talking about these MS gang members who have face tattoos and they're taking over buildings, and it's being clipped online in such a way that implies that he's talking about immigrants, and he's not talking about immigrants. He's talking about the actual gang members, you moron. Perhaps the most insane headline that we have ever read on this show. I saw this yesterday. This is from the New York Post. Governor J.B. Pritzker vows Illinois will boost sex changes after decisive Trump victory. Guys, Trump has won. Who wants to take their boobs off? We're lopping off penises. Buy one, get one free.
We are really trying to understand this. How is it that you boys think referring to gay people as in today's world is acceptable?
Because we're not referring to gay people. You can be gay and not be a Yeah, a lot of aren't gay.
I happen to be gay, boys. Do you think I'm a
Do you ride a big loud Harley and go up and down the streets ruining everyone's nice time?
No.
Then you're not a
But what if a guy is gay and rides a Harley?
Then he's a gay I mean, is this really this hard? I don't know. All right, look, you're driving in your car, okay?
and you're waiting to make a left at a traffic signal. The light turns yellow, should be your turn to go, but the traffic coming at you just keeps coming. And even when the light turns red, a guy in a BMW runs the red light so you can't make your left turn. What goes through your mind? Right! But you're not thinking, oh, he's a homosexual. You're thinking, oh, he's an inconsiderate douchebag like a Harley rider.
This is making insanely good sense to me.
In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years.
How about, guys, a new Broadway show, and it's called Justin Trudeau and His Pack of Demented Minions. And it's Justin, and he's singing, and my demented minions, and they could be midgets maybe, and there's a bunch of midgets, and they're dancing around, and I'm Justin Trudeau, and everybody come into my country, call for jihad. I'll go dancing at a concert while they burn down Montreal. He's changing his tone because, again, there's an orange man 2 hours north of me who is laying down the law, and Trudeau will go back to being the bitch that he is. And ironically, when he's Trump's bitch, that will set things right for Canada. Assuming that Marco Rubio is confirmed as Secretary of State, that means we have an opening in the Senate. There are an awful lot of people in the Twitter world saying that you would be interested or that they would like you to be interested or something to that effect.
Look, I think had you presented this to me even a year ago, I would have said, I don't think this is something I would ever want to do. But it's been an interesting journey, really, for me. Again, to come from a very different background without the last name Trump, to kind of get immersed in politics. And we all were in the family. Ultimately, it falls on Governor Ron DeSantis. Yeah. And I do think he has great judgment. I think he really is the reason that a lot of us probably moved to this state we're in right now.
Basically everyone in this room, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm ultimately going to leave it up to him. But I have said, yes, I'd be very interested in discussing what that looks like, if that's something that he sees fit to potentially appoint me to.
So I'm at this country club in West Palm Beach, and then this man just appeared across the way. Can you see him over there? These other people seem to know who he is. That's right, it's Glenn Beck. We're here for a PragerU event, and got to be hundreds, 2,000 people here. Wonderful night. We're missing Dennis, and yeah, that's the President of the United States. Pretty cool.
I just want to thank everybody. You know, we don't.
And Sheila.
Even allow people